Episode 11 of See You at Work Tomorrow is easily one of the most emotional chapters of the series so far. Rather than relying on dramatic plot twists, the episode focuses on the personal cost of choosing love inside a highly competitive workplace. Nearly every major character is forced to make a difficult decision about their future, and by the final scene, Siwoo makes a choice that completely changes the direction of the story heading into the finale. The episode begins immediately after the affair scandal that threatened to destroy Siwoo's career. Instead of allowing the rumors to continue spreading, Ji-yoon makes a bold decision in front of everyone at the office. She walks straight up to Siwoo, takes his hand, and tells manager Ko that she was with him on the night people claimed he was having an affair with Soo-jin. Then she publicly announces that they are dating. It is an incredibly courageous moment because Ji-yoon understands exactly what she is sacrificing. By confirming their relationship, she completely clears Siwoo of the false affair allegations. However, she also paints a target on her own back. The episode immediately reminds viewers that courage and wisdom are not always the same thing. Through Ji-yoon's internal thoughts, she later reflects that she believed only her bravery could save Siwoo. Looking back, she realizes that confidence alone could never solve a problem rooted in office politics and prejudice. That moment becomes the emotional foundation for the rest of the episode. Although the truth has finally come out, the rumors do not disappear. Instead, they simply change direction. Rather than accusing Siwoo of having an affair, people now begin accusing him of showing unfair favoritism toward Ji-yoon. The scandal has evolved instead of ending. Back at the office, Ji-yoon quickly becomes the center of attention. Everyone suddenly wants to know every detail about her relationship. Soo-jin quietly pulls her aside and gives her an important warning. She tells Ji-yoon that many people will now try to bring her down simply because she is dating someone in a position of authority. It is advice that proves painfully accurate as the episode unfolds. Instead of hiding from the truth, Ji-yoon and Siwoo decide to be completely honest. After work, they agree to tell people that their relationship is serious and that they are dating with marriage in mind. This decision reflects the maturity of their relationship. Neither of them views this as a temporary romance. They genuinely see a future together, making everything they are risking even more meaningful. Unfortunately, the workplace refuses to treat their relationship with the same respect. The following day, gossip spreads through every department. One particularly revealing moment comes when Ki-tae receives an invitation to a team dinner. His colleague tells him not to invite Ji-yoon because she is now considered the boss's girlfriend. It may sound like a small comment, but it highlights how quickly Ji-yoon's professional identity is disappearing. People no longer see her as a talented employee. Instead, they define her entirely through her relationship with Siwoo. Despite this growing tension, Ji-yoon refuses to isolate herself. She attends the dinner anyway and makes one thing perfectly clear. Nothing about her relationship changes the way she treats her colleagues. She wants everyone to understand that she is still the same person she has always been. It is another example of Ji-yoon refusing to let office politics dictate her behavior. Professionally, she and Siwoo continue focusing on the home AI project. They meet with the department store manager and present an innovative proposal involving themed demonstration zones. Rather than showcasing only their own products, they suggest creating dedicated spaces featuring competing brands as well. The idea is surprisingly bold because it encourages customers to compare products directly. Instead of relying on aggressive marketing, the concept focuses on creating trust through transparency. The department store manager immediately recognizes the potential and agrees to move forward with the proposal. Ironically, the project receives support from outside the company while facing resistance from within. The following morning demonstrates just how toxic the work environment has become. Employees begin discussing Ji-yoon's earlier promotion. Instead of recognizing her abilities, They convince themselves she only received the opportunity because of her relationship with Siwoo. The rumors become even more personal when Ji-yoon discovers an orange sitting on her desk. Written across the fruit is a cruel message calling her repulsive. It is one of the episode's most memorable scenes because Ji-yoon's response says everything about her character. She quietly places the orange into her bag. Later that evening, she peels away the skin containing the hateful message and enjoys the fruit inside. The symbolism is beautiful. Ji-yoon chooses to throw away the hatred while keeping only what still has value. Rather than allowing cruel words to define her, she refuses to let negativity ruin something good. It is a simple act, but it perfectly represents her emotional resilience. Soon afterwards, Ji-yoon and Siwoo present their home AI proposal to the company's executives. The presentation is convincing and professionally delivered. However, Jin-chul immediately shifts the discussion away from the project itself. Instead of debating the business strategy, he questions Siwoo's ability to remain objective. He suggests that the proposal exists only because Siwoo favors Ji-yoon. The executives quickly support his argument. President Han ultimately rejects the proposal, requesting a safer alternative. This scene perfectly illustrates one of the episode's biggest themes. Once prejudice enters the workplace, even good ideas struggle to receive fair evaluation. The proposal is not rejected because it lacks quality. It is rejected because people no longer trust the people presenting it. Recognizing how emotionally exhausted Ji-yoon has become, Siwoo takes her into one of the demonstration rooms. There, he places a large pair of headphones over her ears. He gently tells her to block out everything everyone else is saying. It is one of the most romantic scenes in the episode because it is not about grand declarations. Instead, it is about creating a quiet space where Ji-yoon can temporarily escape constant criticism. Inside that silence, Ji-yoon finally tells Siwoo that she loves him. The confession feels completely natural because it follows an act of genuine emotional support rather than dramatic spectacle. Unfortunately, their peaceful moment is short-lived. The situation worsens dramatically when someone files a formal complaint with Human Resources. The accusation claims that Siwoo abused his authority by showing preferential treatment toward Ji-yoon. This transforms office gossip into an official investigation. Human Resources questions Siwoo while company executives pressure President Han to remove him from his position. Even Soo-jin's attempt to defend both Ji-yoon and Siwoo fails to change the outcome. President Han eventually reaches an incredibly difficult decision. She informs Siwoo that Ji-yoon will lose her special promotion. After the home AI launch, she will also be transferred to another department. President Han openly admits her reasoning. She cannot afford to lose someone as valuable as Siwoo. This decision perfectly exposes the imbalance of power inside the company. Although both employees are affected by the scandal, Ji-yoon bears the heavier consequences despite having done nothing wrong. When Ji-yoon learns about the complaint, she desperately wants to comfort Siwoo. However, surrounded by colleagues, she simply walks past him without saying a word. The moment is heartbreaking because both of them understand why it must happen. Every public interaction now risks creating even more rumors. Later, they finally meet at Sungmin's bar. Ji-yoon quietly tells Siwoo that they should keep their distance while at work. It is not because they love each other any less. It is because protecting each other's careers has become more important than openly expressing their relationship. Siwoo apologizes for everything she has been forced to endure. Their conversation makes it painfully clear that both of them are paying an enormous emotional price simply for loving each other. Back at the office, Ji-yoon officially loses the promotion she worked so hard to earn. Manager Ko takes obvious pleasure in humiliating her. When she finally stands up to him, he responds by throwing water at her feet and preparing to physically strike her. Before he can act, Siwoo steps in. In front of everyone, he exposes manager Ko as the person responsible for posting the anonymous accusations about him and Sujin. It is one of the episode's most satisfying moments. For weeks, manager Ko has manipulated rumors while hiding behind anonymity. Now the truth is finally public. Although this revelation does not erase the damage already done, it removes one of the company's most toxic influences. The atmosphere begins slowly changing. One employee quietly approaches Ji-yoon and tells her that many people never believed the accusations against her. For the first time in a long while, Ji-yoon realizes she is not completely alone. That small gesture restores some of the hope she has gradually been losing. Professionally, things also begin improving. Ji-yoon presents President Han with a revised proposal. Instead of a permanent installation, she suggests launching the home AI experience as a month-long pop-up event. President Han approves the idea almost immediately. Internally, she admits that Ji-yoon is simply too talented to waste. Although she has been forced into difficult decisions, President Han still recognizes genuine ability when she sees it. Another major storyline reaches an emotional turning point through Noah. Fed up with manager Ko's abusive behavior, she files an official complaint supported by an audio recording. Unlike many others, she refuses to remain silent. When manager Ko confronts her, she confidently stands her ground in front of the entire office. Then she announces another life-changing decision. She is leaving for Senegal on a 2-year overseas assignment. Her courage inspires other employees to come forward with complaints against manager Ko as well. The moment demonstrates how one person's bravery can finally encourage others to speak the truth. Ji-yoon also receives unexpected good news. The head of the development division offers her a position on the newly formed Future Tech Development Team. The opportunity reflects everything she has proven throughout the series. Unlike those judging her because of her relationship, this leader values her actual abilities. He recognizes that Ji-yoon understands both planning and product development, making her uniquely qualified for the new role. As the launch of Home AI approaches, the entire team works tirelessly. They even spend the night at the office preparing for release. When the advertising campaign finally appears across the city featuring Jia Yul introducing the promotional web drama, it feels like the reward for months of relentless effort. Despite everything happening behind the scenes, the project itself becomes a genuine success. Before taking a day off, Siwoo tells Ji-yoon he plans to spend time with his father for his birthday. He asks her to make one promise. Whatever happens next, she must always choose what is best for herself. At the time, the request seems unusual. Only later do viewers understand why he says it. Meanwhile, another emotional relationship reaches a breaking point. Noah finally tells Jaein about her move to Senegal. She explains that preparing for this opportunity actually gave her the confidence to apply in the first place. Rather than celebrating with her, Jaein quietly admits he cannot accept the situation. He walks away while Noah desperately follows him. Unlike Ji-yoon and Siwoo, whose relationship survives difficult choices, Noah and Jaein are suddenly facing the painful possibility that love alone may not overcome different life goals. Toward the end of the episode, Ji-yoon begins sensing that something is troubling Siwoo. While he spends the day celebrating his father's birthday, she cannot shake the feeling that he is carrying a burden he refuses to share. Trusting her instincts, she travels to see him. The reunion is warm and heartfelt. Siwoo's father happily welcomes her and leaves the couple alone while preparing dinner. Finally, Siwoo reveals what has been weighing on his mind. After everything they have endured, he knows exactly what he has to do. He tells Ji-yoon that he is going to resign from CM. His decision is not an act of defeat. It is an act of love. Throughout episode 11, every attempt to protect both his career and his relationship has failed. The company has repeatedly forced Ji-yoon to suffer because of her connection to him. Her promotion has been revoked. Her reputation has been attacked. Her future has been placed in jeopardy. Siwoo realizes that as long as he remains her superior, the accusations will never truly end. By resigning, he removes the biggest weapon his enemies have used against them. More importantly, he fulfills the promise he made earlier when he told Ji-yoon to choose what was best for herself. Now he is doing exactly the same. The ending of episode 11 is therefore not about someone giving up a prestigious career. It is about recognizing that success means very little if achieving it requires sacrificing the people you love. As the series heads into its finale, Siwoo's resignation changes everything. The workplace scandal has reached its breaking point. New opportunities are opening for Ji-yoon. Noah faces an uncertain future overseas. And every major character now stands at a crossroads where career ambitions and personal happiness can no longer exist without difficult sacrifices. The biggest question remaining is whether leaving Siam will finally free Siwoo and Ji-yoon from the endless cycle of office politics, or whether one final challenge still awaits before they can build the future they have both been fighting for.